Well, hi there, Internet. My name's Court, and you've got courtside seats for my review of Life. Life is a science fiction horror thriller directed by Daniel Espinosa, and it reunites Ryan Reynolds with writers Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick, who are the dudes who wrote Deadpool, as well as Zombieland, I believe. Now, the movie opens on the International Space Station, where a team of astronauts are trying to recover a probe that's coming back from Mars in the hopes of finding some kind of alien life in soil samples that they've found. It's cool because the movie opens with Ryan Reynolds on a spacewalk, and we don't actually see much of him on the walk. We only see the other astronauts in the space station watching to see what will happen. It was a really cool idea. It really built tension right from the very get-go. I really appreciated that. Now, once they get the sample on board and put it in quarantine, they find out that there is a single-celled organism that they start trying to learn about. They find out very quickly that it evolves at a very rapid rate, both mentally and physically. I don't want to say anything else about the plot, but I said it was a horror thriller, so I think you have an idea of where this is going. The acting in this film is solid all the way throughout. There wasn't really a standout performance. No, none of them were stunning, but everyone did a good job. Now, the trailers make it look very much like it's Ryan Reynolds and Jake Gyllenhaal's adventures in space, and while they are the bankable stars, this very much is an ensemble film. The cast is rounded out by, and apologies for my pronunciations here, Rebecca Ferguson, Hiroyuki Sanada, Olga Devichnaya, and Ariane Bakare. One thing I really liked about this movie was the pacing. It is so quick. The movie's less than 2 hours long, and it just flies through. The movie is incredibly tense from the very, very get-go right till the very end, and at no point was I wondering what the time was. Now, the creature in this movie gets named Calvin. People on Earth win a contest to name the alien, and they come up with Calvin. Why it wasn't Spacey McSpaceface, I'll never understand. Now, the design of Calvin was really cool, and it reminded me particularly of a few different things from different movies. First off, the Demogorgon from Stranger Things, Audrey 2 from Little Shop of Horrors, feed me Seymour, feed me all night long. Rest in peace, Levi. And the water tentacle from James Cameron's masterpiece, and I would argue his best film, The Abyss. Admittedly, The Abyss is the movie that started my lifelong man crush on Ed Harris. Hello, Dolores. I said I had a man crush on him. I didn't say I could do an impression of the guy. I want to talk about the deaths in this movie. Now, relax. I'm not spoiling you here. You knew there were going to be deaths. It's called Life. Obviously, there's going to be a juxtaposition of death. Come on now. What I liked about the deaths in this movie were that they were really inventive. They weren't particularly gory. There is some gore in the movie, but it's really not over the top. But these deaths hit hard. They had me squirming and uncomfortable, and gag reflex was going, and it was really impressive. They're incredibly visceral, and they hit really, really hard. Now, one thing that really did detract from the movie for me was the score by John Ekstrand. It's just kind of underwhelming. There's not really a whole lot that stands out. It's like pulsing and intense when it needs to be, but there aren't really any takeaway melodies that I remember in my head. The closest things, well, they kind of felt plagiarized from the scores of The Dark Knight and Game of Thrones. Shame. Now, if you've seen the trailer, you may have recognized the fact that this movie is really reminiscent of Ridley Scott's Alien. It is, and it's not. It has very similar story beats. The basic premise is very, very similar. But unlike Alien, it takes place in the very, very near future, and it doesn't have a single protagonist. Again, like I said, it's an ensemble piece, and it doesn't go in the same direction as Alien at all. I will say the third act does get a little bit silly at times, and there are some leaps in logic that were a little hard for me to buy. But the very ending, despite the leap in logic, the logic is not so sound. The ending is really powerful. The editing in the ending is done so well that when it hits really hard. Now, I did have an idea of where it was going about a half hour earlier. Turned out I was right. But still, all in all, it was a really good film and I really enjoyed it. Now, I don't have a proprietary rating system as of yet, so what am I going to give Life? Let's see here. Okay, on a scale of Alien versus Predator, it's definitely more of an Alien. It's a good flick. And you know what? Hell of a lot better than Prometheus. Hello, darkness, my old friend.